All right. Ready? Here we go. How do we build a habit, or what is a habit? Years ago, I had the opportunity and blessing to work with a First Nations tribe. They're called the Shawanasaway tribe. It was about 5 years before the pandemic. And they said I was able to work with the leader there, the elder, or the chief. And he said that youth are natural explorers. It's called your wandering years, he calls it. That's your title. It's the wandering years. And you like to explore, you like to figure things out. It's new. Like, this is how you are. Rats are similar. Now, I'm not calling you rats, but I'm letting you know this because of an experiment that was done years ago. Some of you may know this experiment already because I've told this story before. But years ago, they took a maze in the form of a T. By the cage, they put a rat. By the exit, at the end, they put a piece of cheese. And by the cage, they put a little speaker. And the experiment was very, very simple. Somebody with a remote control would press the button. A sound would sound, beep. The cage would open. And because the rats are natural explorers, they would come out. Not knowing where they were, they kind of like hesitated a little bit. Some would go forward, some would go back, smelling something. Someone actually would go back into the cage and just kind of exploring and figuring out where they were. Some would go left, some would go right. The ones that would go right would eat the cheese and then exit. Then they reset the experiment. They put a new rat in the cage. Somebody with a remote control would press the button. A sound would sound, beep. The cage would open and the rats would come out. They would go forward, some would go back, some would go left, some would go right. They would eat the cheese and then exit. And they kept doing this over and over and over again for about 2 weeks. After 2 weeks of doing this experiment, they realized something. They took the remote control, they put a rat inside, they pressed the button, beep, the cage would open, and the rats would go straight and then right. They didn't explore anymore. They would just go straight and then right. And they kept doing this over and over. Press the button, and whatever, and then straight and then right. Then they took away the cheese just to see what would happen. And sure enough, the rats would go straight and then right. They would put another rat straight and then right. Then they took away the speaker, the sound. They put the rats in the cage. They closed the cage. They pressed the button. No sound. The cage would open. What did the rats do? What do you think? I hear straight and then right. Do I have a different answer? Yep. They stayed in the cage. Why did they stay in the cage? Thank you. They were waiting for the sound. What's your name? Hallie. Hallie? Kelly? Kelly, you're the bomb, digitybomb.com. Kelly, absolutely right. They were in the cage waiting for the beep. And they quickly realized how habit is built. Habit is a 3-part process. I want you to repeat after me. Q. Q. I want you to repeat after me. Q. Q. Good. I want you to repeat after me. Routine. Routine. I want you to repeat after me. Reward. Reward. Repeat after me. Q, routine, reward. Again, cue, routine, reward. Cue, routine, reward. Just the teachers. Cue, routine, reward. Cue, routine, reward. Oh, you sound good. That's right. Cue, routine, reward. What was the rat's cue? The sound. What was the routine? Thank you. Straight and then right. What was the reward? Listen, we're programmed like this as well. And I'll prove it to you. Your teacher can be in your classroom and he or she will say, all right, it's reading time. Sit down and read quietly, concentrate. And you're there and you're reading or pretending to read. And then all of a sudden that bell rings for recess and you lose your wig. Right? And then you just drop what you're doing, you get in line and you just wait. Because you know that the bell, which is your cue, lined up, which is the routine, and what's the reward? Recess. You're not inside listening to French. Oh. English, math. When are you going to need English in Canada? Always. Right? So your program, the ice cream truck driver at my house in my street, I'm going to find out where this guy lives because he parks in my house always. He knows that I got a bunch of kids in the house. And the minute that ice cream truck parks and the music, my kids, and they just lose their cool, right? But the sound, oh, Dad, I'm craving ice cream. And you weren't craving ice cream, right? We got ice cream in the freezer, right? That sound, the cue, creates this emotion of wanting this ice cream, the same ice cream that we have in the fridge. And then the reward is you're going to get your ice cream, that transaction. We're programmed like this. The rats are programmed like this. Now let's put a pin on this for a second here. What is self-care? What is self-care? Talk to me. Taking care of yourself. Perfect. Easy. Not complicated. Taking care of yourself. So years ago, so after the pandemic was done, we wanted to reward our kids. Like I wanted to reward our kids. It's they've been through a lot, so we decided to go on a cruise. In this cruise, I knew, so I have 2 daughters, they're twin girls. I love them more than anything in life. Like they are God's greatest gift to me. My boys will always come up to me, particularly there's one kid, Levi. He comes up to me and goes, Dad, do you really love our sisters more than us? And I have to be honest and just say yes. I do. And I love my daughters. They are everything to me. So I know, knowing my daughters have never flown before, so I know that they were going to freak out at the takeoff and the landing of a plane, especially watching all these movies. And so when I purchased the tickets to sit right in between them. During the takeoff, or before the takeoff, the flight attendant, she comes on with the pre-recording and says the following. In the case of lack of oxygen, a mask is going to fall down. Go ahead, proceed and pull and take the mask and put it around your head. Once on your nose, secure the seal and pull the strings. After that is done, please proceed and help the person on your left and on your right. Now, I have a problem with this because you're telling me that I have to take care of me before I can help my daughters, the ones who I love more than anything in life. I reject that notion. I will help my daughters first. And then I started looking into what happens in the case of lack of oxygen. And 2 things happen. Number 1, you actually start to see in slow motion. When there's a lack of oxygen, even though things are happening in real time, the way that the mind is processing information, again, I have no idea because I've never been put into that position, but you actually start to see things in slow motion. And if the lack of oxygen continues, you actually pass out. You're still breathing, you're still alive, but you pass out. So what ends up happening is that this plane is going back and forth, jerking you around, and then your neck is flying like this. You can actually break your neck. And not just that, but your head can bump into the window, another person's head, or the front of the seat in front of you, crack your skull, and you can actually die. So, if I am to help God's greatest gifts on earth, I have to put on my mask on first. Self-care, all it means is putting on the mask first. That's what self-care means. Because when you have that mask, when you have that oxygen flow in your system, then you're in a better position to be able to help everybody around you. The person on your left, the person on your right, the person in front of you, the person behind you. But here's the problem. Self-care is not a habit, and it needs to be a habit. And what is the 3-part process to the habit? Then, after cue, after routine, good. Self-care needs to be a habit. And a habit is built through cue, routine, reward. Does this make sense? My father, when he was alive, he had this thing fixated that the gas tank line cannot go past halfway point. He was freaking out if that line was starting and nowhere near the E, the empty. But he was starting to, right? And he was like looking, we could be late, it doesn't matter. He was looking for a place to put on gas. I'm like, Dad, it's still halfway point. And he goes, it doesn't matter. Sometimes we wait until our needle is on E, until we can start filling up our tanks, until we can start self-carrying. That is not a good practice. That is not a good practice. Self-care needs to be daily, and it cannot go past midpoint. Does this make sense? Okay, that's your lesson.